Land animals represent a large part of the fur market. Fur graders at the auction houses are aware of this, which is why they take great care in doing their job. First, let's look at lynx and bobcat, which have similar grading techniques. Lynx pelts are graded by origin into two major regions, Eastern and Western Canada. Whereas bobcat pelts come from farther south and are sorted into three major regions, Eastern, Western, and Southern United States. These zones are often further divided into subregions. The most attractive color in eastern lynx pelts come from north-central Quebec and Ontario. The best pelts in the western region are from the Northwest Territories. So far as bobcat is concerned, the clearest and largest furs come from the western United States, while the flattest quality pelts originate in the south. The grader measures the length of lynx and bobcat pelts with the help of a lined gauge from the end of the snout to the base of the tail. Lynx pelts are graded in 5 different sizes. Extra large reaches 39 inches and more, whereas small is less than 31 inches. Medium and small pelts are classed together regardless of their origin because they're more valuable than adult pelts and there are fewer of them. Their colors are brighter and the fur is silkier. Bobcat is smaller than its cousin. It is graded in only 3 size categories: extra large or more than 36 inches, medium, and small or less than 32 inches. Lynx and bobcat pelts are evaluated with the fur facing out. The grader stretches out the pelt, one hand holding the mouth and the other the rump. If he detects any damage, the pelt is placed in one of the damaged grades. The primeness of a pelt, and therefore its quality, is determined by examining the back. Both these species are fully primed between mid-December and mid-February. Here is an example of a primeness curve applicable south of the St. Lawrence River. Pelts which are fully primed and therefore of the greatest value are classified in 2 top grades, 1 Part 2 and 1 and 2. This is a lynx pelt of the very highest quality, graded heavy in the 1 Part 2 category. The underfur on the back is dense and forms a thick cushion. The guard hair is fully developed and covers all the underfur. The fur on the belly is dense and well distributed. There are no spots on the fur or leather. The leather on the neck is soft and pliable. Early or late pelts, that is, harvested before or after they reached prime, are sorted in the following grades. Take, for instance, this 3 early pelt of a bobcat that was harvested before reaching prime. The fur appears flat because the underfur is thin and the guard hair is short. The leather is blue. This grade 3 lynx pelt was taken after the period of full primeness. It has begun to shed. The neck leather is stiff. It has a lower value. While their quality is being graded, lynx and bobcat pelts are also graded according to the clarity of the belly. That is, according to the amount of reddish-brown tinge to the underfur. The pelts are rated according to 4 grades of clarity: clear, slightly off, off, and stained. The clearer the fur, the more value it has. This illustration shows the 4 clarity grades for bobcat. Note the reddish-brown tone, which grows stronger from grade to grade. Here are the lynx pelts in the same 4 clarity grades. The 4th grade, stained, is very discolored around the nipples. Let's look now at how coyote pelts are graded. Coyote pelts are first sorted according to 2 major zones, eastern and western. The fur of eastern coyote is usually darker than western coyote, and the hair, especially on the grotzen, is coarser. Western coyote pelts are paler, silkier in texture, and of better quality. The grotzen is the long guard hair dying between the shoulders and along the back. The pelts are then sorted into lots according to size. The coyote pelt is measured from the nose to the base of the tail. Coyote pelts are sorted into 3 size classifications. Extra large is more than 42 inches, and the smallest classification is less than 36 inches. Coyote is inspected with the fur facing out. The grader evaluates the primeness of the pelts. Coyote pelts reach full prime between mid-November and the first week in January. Here's an example of a curve applicable in southern Quebec. Holding the pelt by the nose and the rump, the grader visually estimates the extent to which the underfur is covered by guard hair. He also evaluates the thickness of the grotzen. Then he runs his hand through the pelt in order to evaluate the density of the underfur. Finally, the underlying leather is inspected. If the grader sees any damage, the pelt is classed in one of the damaged grades. The 2 highest grades are 1 Part 2 and 1 and 2. Here's a top-quality coyote pelt rated 1 Part 2. This pelt has reached full prime and the fur is completely developed. All the underfur is covered by guard hair. The underfur has reached maximum density and the leather is creamy white. Here you can see that the grotzen of a high-quality 1 Part 2 pelt is smaller and less developed than the grotzen of a 1 and 2 pelt. The most beautiful pelts in this category may be classed heavy. These 5 grades cover pelts harvested before or after the period of full primeness. For instance, this 3 flat pelt was taken well before reaching full prime. The flanks are lacking in guard hair. Here is a grade 4 pelt. Signs of rubbing are evident. This fur was harvested during the shedding and has little value. Next, the pelts are graded by color. First, the grader evaluates the clarity of the belly and grades the pelts in 4 categories of declining value: clear, slightly off, off, and badly off. The pelt is graded clear when the belly fur is white, without any trace of a yellowish or brownish tone. Finally, the coyote pelts are sorted according to the 4 color grades of the back fur. These grades are based on the presence, more or less pronounced, of brownish tones in the tips of the underfur or the guard hair. These grades are pale, dark, tawny, and red. Now we'll look at how wolf pelts are graded. Since evaluation techniques are the same as for coyote, this section will be short and will serve only to highlight the few peculiarities of wolves. Wolf pelts are sorted according to 3 great regions of origin: Arctic, Eastern, and Western. However, some auction houses ignore this division and sort pelts exclusively by color. Since wolf is usually sorted in small lots of 5 furs or less, quality grades are usually not given in the auction house sales catalog. This catalog describes wolf pelts only in terms of size and color. Wolf fur usually reaches full prime between the end of November and the end of January. Here's an example of a curve applicable to southern Quebec. However, since wolf pelts are often used for making rugs, certain features and requirements should be mentioned. The pelt must be whole, with all the claws, the lips, the ears, and the skin of the lower jaw. An incomplete pelt loses much of its value. Wolf pelts are sorted according to 5 different sizes. The largest are more than 60 inches long. Wolf pelts are measured in the same way as coyote pelts. The following illustration shows the various color categories. The color of wolf pelts varies enormously from one region to another, running all the way from black to tawny to white. Pale colors are more common in wolves from the Arctic region. The next animal we will discuss is the marten. Marten, also called Canadian or American sable, are first divided into 2 great regions: Eastern and Western. Most marten pelts sold in North America come from Canada. Eastern pelts are usually smaller and paler in color than Western. The best quality Eastern pelts come from Labrador and northern Quebec. Pelts from the Yukon are the largest, and those from southern British Columbia are the darkest. The latter pelts also have very lightweight fur. Marten pelts, like those of most other species, are measured from the end of the snout to the base of the tail. Marten are graded in 5 size categories. The largest pelts measure more than 23 inches. The grader evaluates the density of the fur by running his hand over the back area, from the tail toward the snout, in order to gauge the resistance. Marten pelts reach full primeness and therefore their peak value between the end of November and mid-February. Here's an example of a primeness curve applicable south of the St. Lawrence River. Top quality pelts are classified in 3 grades according to the density of the fur: heavy, semi-heavy, and light. Pelts in all these grades have reached full prime. The fur is fully developed. The pelt is graded light because it's not as dense as the first 2 grades. The flanks are slightly exposed. Pelts harvested before reaching prime are sorted into the following 4 grades: 2, low 2, 3, and 4. Marten taken late in the season are graded 2 springy. On this early grade 3 pelt, the fur appears flat because the guard hair has not yet reached its full length. The fur also lacks gloss. The blue leather indicates that this pelt was harvested well before reaching prime. Marten pelts can be grouped in up to 9 different color categories, from extra dark to canary. Extra dark and dark are the most popular colors because they can be left in their natural state. Pelts in other colors will be dyed, with the occasional exception of canary, which is then called golden sable. Now let's look at how fisher pelts are graded. Unlike other species, fisher is not graded by geographic origin. On the other hand, fisher pelts are classified according to sex because of major differences in size and the quality of the fur. The female is generally smaller, and its fur is fine, silky, and of high quality. Females are therefore more valuable. The fur of large males is coarse in texture. It is least desirable and has least value. Small males have soft, silky fur, the value of which lies between females and large males. Next, the pelts are graded by size. The length of a fisher pelt is taken from the tip of the snout to the base of the tail. The grader estimates the size by eye, usually with the help of a gauge, and sorts the pelts into 3 size categories. These categories are large, for big males more than 28 inches in length, medium for small males and some large females, and small for females less than 25 inches. Pelts of small males less than 25 inches long are nevertheless graded as medium, and pelts of medium-sized males whose fur is coarse are graded as large. In order to be graded by quality, fisher pelts are examined with the fur facing out. The grader first checks to see if there is any damage. If there is, the pelt is placed in one of the damaged grades. Then the grader determines the primeness and quality of the pelt by evaluating the density of the underfur, the length of the guard hair, and the amount of surface which it covers. Fisher pelts are generally fully primed between mid-November and the beginning of January. Here's a chart applicable to the region south of the St. Lawrence River in general. Superior quality pelts are graded 1 part 2 and 1 in 2. Pelts graded 1 part 2 have reached full prime, while those graded 1 and 2 are on the verge of reaching full prime. One can see in this top quality 1 part 2 pelt that the underfur is dense. The guard hair is at its maximum length and covers the entire pelt. The leather of pelts graded 1 part 2 is creamy white. It is somewhat bluish in pelts graded 1 and 2. And the best pelts in this category may be graded heavy. Pelts harvested before or after full primeness are classified in grades 2, 3, and 4. Here we have a 4 early pelt. The underfur and guard hair are underdeveloped. This gives the pelt a flat appearance. The leather is very blue and stiff. Fisher pelts are usually graded in 6 color classifications, running from dark to extra pale. The extra pale, pale, and light brown pelts are most valuable. Clarity, as we know now, refers to the amount of reddish or yellowish tinge to the underfur. The less tinge, the greater the value of the pelt. There are 5 clarity grades in Fisher pelts, running from clear to red. This last category is least valuable. Like other species, raccoons are graded by size, quality, and color. First of all, though, they are graded by geographical origin. North America is divided into 4 great regions producing raccoons with differing leather thickness as well as differing fur lengths and densities. From the thickest pelts to the finest, these regions are called Eastern or Canadian, heavy, semi-heavy, and coat type. Next, the pelts are graded by size. The length of the pelt is measured along the back, from the tip of the nose to the base of the tail. There are 7 size categories. Pelts in the first category are longer than 32 inches, and the small pelts in the 7th category are less than 19 inches. Raccoon pelts are graded with the leather facing out. In this way, the grader can detect any damage to the pelt and determine its primeness by the color of the leather. Normally, pelts reach full prime, and therefore their greatest value, between the end of November and mid-February. The grader then evaluates the quality of the fur through the inspection window at the bottom of the belly. Better quality pelts are graded in categories 1 Part 2 and 1 and 2. The first category is for pelts that are fully primed, and the second is for pelts that are on the verge of being fully primed. Here is a pelt that is 1 Part 2 in quality. The leather is creamy white. The fur is fully developed, showing strong contrasts. The underfur is dense, and the guard hair covers it completely, from one flank to the other. Raccoon pelts harvested before or after they reach prime are graded in categories Good 2, 3, and 4. This is a 3 early pelt. The leather is black, and the fur is poor because it has not reached prime. However, the color contrast is satisfactory. This pelt is grade 3 late. It has the same quality as the previous pelt, but was harvested after the prime period. The leather is thin and appears glassy. The fur is woolly and rubbed. In the case of raccoon pelts, clarity is the only consideration in grading color. The grades, in order of decreasing value, are clear, slightly off, and badly off. 2 other color categories can be added to the 4 previously mentioned: Fisher and cinnamon. The final land animals at which we'll look are red fox and cross fox. There are 3 different color varieties of red fox: red, cross, and silver. We will look at the 2 most common color phases: red fox in the narrow sense and cross fox. Grading techniques and quality classification are identical in both cases. Red fox will serve as our example. We will return to cross fox when discussing color. Red fox is found in 6 major regions in North America. This regional classification is based on differences in the thickness of the leather and in the color, length, and texture of the fur. Cross fox pelts, on the other hand, are not sorted according to geographic origin. Then the pelts are graded by size. Fox is measured from the tip of the snout to the base of the tail. Pelts are graded in 4 size classifications, from extra large or more than 35 inches to small or less than 27 inches. The grader examines the pelts to determine their quality. In red fox, the quality of the pelt is indicated by the collar of fur around the neck. These pelts generally reach full prime between mid-November and the beginning of January. Here's an example of a primeness curve applicable to the region south of the St. Lawrence River. Superior quality pelts are classified as usual in grades 1 Part 2 and 1 and 2. Here is a pelt graded 1 Part 2. The fur is fully prime or on the verge of being fully prime. The underfur is dense. The guard hair is well developed, completely covering the underfur. Red fox pelts harvested before or after full prime are sorted in these 6 quality grades. This is a 3 flat pelt. The fur appears flat because the guard hair is too short, a sign of an early pelt. This pelt is graded 3 rubbed. Note the rubbed fur and the scarcity of guard hair. This produces its woolly appearance. Finally, the fur is classified by color. Let's look first at the red fox. Red fox pelts are graded in 4 colors: dark red, medium, pale, and extra pale. Cross fox have a black cross on the neck and shoulders and are first graded in 3 colors: dark, medium, and pale. Then they're graded according to 3 levels of contrast: sharp contrast, some contrast, and very little contrast. Red fox also comes in another color variety, so-called bastard fox. Its fur resembles that of the cross fox, but the underfur is reddish at the tips. The pelt also has a reddish streak down the middle of the back. The snout is red and black instead of a solid black as in the cross fox. Now we better understand the usefulness to purchasers and auction houses of a classification system which provides such precise information about the origin, size, quality, and color of the pelts of each species. The main parties in the fur trade find this system to their benefit.